Good morning, guys. I'm going to include in this video a brief explanation about this kind of project in which you will have to develop in the next days. Okay. At first, I'm going to read the instructions and just to clarify questions in the same video. Okay. For this project, you will be creating a poster. In terms of a poster, and taking in mind the current conditions, we are going to do you will have to be creative creating either a presentation. Okay, a presentation. Wait, we're gonna create a presentation. Okay, and here I'm gonna write presentation. Okay, presentation. Okay, for this company you can use any kind of app, such as Keynote, PowerPoint, uh, pages, puzzles, and anyway. Okay, it goes through the step-by-step procedure needed to draw the graph of a quadratic equation. In this part, you're gonna create a quadratic equation. I'm going to include an example. You cannot use the example, it's only an example. For example, by creating my quadratic equation, I can say, for example, my quadratic equation is 2x squared plus 5x minus 4. Yeah. Or minus x squared minus 4x plus 20. Yeah. But independent, the quadratic equation you're gonna create needs to be unique for all the projects. That means I need to find 25 or 24 different quadratic equations. Okay, but if, for example, I'm going to give you an extra in your quadratic equation, you include, for example, fractions, it's going to be better to get a better understanding and a better performance in this project. Okay. Now I'm going to continue reading. Preparation. Before creating your poster, or in this case poster presentation. Okay, presentation, you must find the basic information about the graph of your quadratic equation. A basic information is referred to all the issues we have done in the previous lessons. Vertex 4, factorization, need to be factorized. And in this case, for example, you can investigate in this part of a quadratic equation. Instead of creating, for example, create a quadratic equation, you can look for a application of quadratic equation. For example, in physics, we can find applications. Yes, for example, using free fall. Yes, or you can look for in the website. For example, I'm gonna write, for example, quadratic equations applications. Yeah, and in here, for example, we can look for different websites in which we can see applications of quadratic equations. Yeah, for example, I'm going to open this website. This website, for example, I don't know. No, thanks. We can refer, for example, this quadratic equation we have here. This 5w2 squared. This one, if you see, it is a quadratic equation, and over here we have more quadratic equations. Yeah, application to problem of motion, and we have a lot. Look at it, is an excellent example. This one is a quadratic equation, and we have a context in which we can develop this one. Okay, therefore you can look for quadratic equations in which they have an application. Okay. Does the parabola open upward or downward? Based on the lesson of vocabulary, you're gonna learn different words in which we can refer to quadratic equation. How can this be determined from the equation? You need to graph the equation, use Desmos or GeoGebra. In the second, what is the equation of the axis of symmetry? Just to remind, axis of symmetry is the x value of vertex. Okay. In the previous lessons, we were checking vertex, and you have videos as well that in which I record myself explaining vertex. What are the coordinates of the vertex? Is similar to the equation above, but in this one you're going to include the x, that is the axis of symmetry, and the variable y. Okay. What is the minimum and maximum value of the parabola? In the vocabulary lesson, you're gonna see this kind of concepts. What is the y-intercept of your parabola? Remember the y-intercept. All of these topics, you have the videos and the worksheet because you were doing this before. Therefore, if you have question, refer to the videos. Parabola, the y-intercept of the parabola, for example, is I'm going to do an example over here. For example, you have the curve. That is the y-intercept is the point in which the parabola is crossing the y-axis. Okay, that is the y-intercept. Yeah. What are the roots? We were checking the roots. In this one, we are going to explore factorizing. We were checking factorization. Remember that getting the brackets, yes, and from the brackets equal to 0, and getting the value for the x, the different values for x. Make sure that your quadratic equation contains values to be factorized. Okay, solving using the quadratic formula. Avoid doing this, but you can investigate quadratic formula because it's just a formula, and you can apply the formula. If you want look for, it's going to be like an extra. If you get the quadratic formula, it's going to be better for the grade. Okay. The 7, how do you find other points on the parabola? Find at least 3 points on each side of the parabola. For the point 7, for example, for point 7, I'm going to do it over here for this point. For example, you can create, for example, for point 7, you can create a table for x and y. Yes, and is the same that we have done in linear equation. Or you can use Desmos and select 3 different points. But as the keyword says find, you will have, I'm gonna give you the trick for this. Is just, for example, I have this quadratic equation. Yeah. Okay, 3 different points. How to find 3 different points? We are going to take the x equal 2, x equal 3, and x equal 5, and replace the values, those values, into the equation. When you have an x, you're gonna replace it by the numbers, and then you are gonna find the different values for y, depending the values for x, in which you can find the 3 different points. Okay, that is a way. Graph the parabola on graph paper. That means we are gonna use a millimeter paper in case you don't have paper at home. Do it in a sheet paper, but do it with a ruler. It is mandatory. I will not accept parabolas over different by not using the ruler. Okay, ruler. You need to use the ruler. Finally, street pictures that represent parabolas in everyday life. You can print pictures from computer, draw picture of parabolas in everyday, or cut out pictures from magazines. And in this case, based on the situation, think so the best option for you is draw picture of parabolas. in this one, try to look for not common examples, rare examples. And even, for example, if your equation by checking the examples, for example, you have this. If we see this quadratic equation, for example, if you see this one, you see this picture, we can have a quadratic equation on this way. If your quadratic equation has the same curve, it's going to be better. For example, this one, by doing difference, I'm gonna use this color. For example, we have this curve. Yes, it's a down, upward. For example, it is called upward. Downward is the opposite curve shape. Okay. For this project, as I said before, you will have to create a presentation. Try to include things by yourself, or in case you want to be much more creative, you can create a video. Okay. You can create a video instead of presentation. You can create a video. Okay. Or even you can do the poster if you have cardboard at home, or you can be creative about how to create a poster with the material you have at home. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you this presentation as a brief revision of the different points you need to develop in the project. All of the topics were taught before, and even you have videos and the works you were doing. Okay, have a nice day, guys, and please be on time with the delivering of this. Thank you.